welcome to the Martin Bailey Photography Podcast. It's March 31, 2022, and this is episode 773. Although it took a few days or weeks longer than I'd hoped, I'm really happy to be able to announce today that my latest iOS app, PhotoClock Pro, has just gone live on the Apple App Store. And at just $7, I'm starting with a 12.5% discount, saving you $1 for the first week to celebrate the launch. The price will go to a still very reasonable $8 from April 8, 2022. But I think it's worth every penny at either price. And today I'm going to share with you information on all of the major features of PhotoClock Pro with lots of screenshots and a couple of video captures. I'm incredibly proud of what I've built over the last 3 months, so I have been really looking forward to being able to share full details with you. For many years, I've wanted an app that does what PhotoClock Pro does, which is, in essence, to provide an analog clock on my iPhone or iPad and display images behind the clock. The basic design was relatively easy to complete, but as I worked on PhotoClock Pro, I started to want more and more features, and have actually added one more feature in version 1.1, which I put in for review today. And I'll show you that shortly as well. The base feature, which I've set actually $6.99 for the first week of sales, gets you the fully functional app. I added the Pro designation to the name because many of the features are Pro level, more than a regular consumer app, but that's how I like to work. You can add as many images as you like, although I will warn you that if you try to add more than 50 or so at a time, the app may crash depending on the spec of your device. The method defined to limit the number of images imported doesn't work. Although I'll keep working on this area, for now, try to limit imports to 50 or fewer images at a time. In addition to your own images, as we'll see, the app actually comes with in-app purchases to enable you to buy additional background image packs of my photos, if you want to use them. Most photographers, though, and probably many people, are going to just use their own photos, so the optional image packs are completely optional and can be hidden when you don't need to see them, so as not to unnecessarily take up space on your device with my images. Apart from multiple app icons that you can choose from, there are no images actually stored inside PhotoClock Pro when you buy it. They are only downloaded and stored on your device if you buy them. Even the thumbnails for the background image packs are only downloaded as you need them. So, out of the box, PhotoClock Pro is a relatively lean 50 megabytes. Here is a series of 3 screenshots that I've captured to show you the 10 image packs that I'm launching with, and you will also notice a My Images folder at the top of the list. If you don't want to see My Image Packs, just tap the icon in the top right corner and they'll collapse away, leaving just the user albums visible. We start off with one album for you to load your own images into, but as you can see in the rightmost of the 3 screenshots, you can slide the albums to the left to reveal an option to create a new album. When you no longer need an album, you can slide it to the right to delete the album and all of the images inside it. When you tap on an album, you go inside to see a list of thumbnails showing what each image looks like, and provides a few more options via the management panel at the top of the list and by sliding the images themselves. In the user albums, you can tap the pen in the top right corner, and then you can edit the album name and description to help you organize your photos as I've organized the image packs. If you enter one of my image packs that you don't yet own, you will see a button at the top of the list to buy the pack, as you can see in this next screenshot of my Flowerscapes pack. Note too that there is a cloud icon below each image title showing that the pack is not yet downloaded. Once you buy an image pack, it will be automatically downloaded and all of the images marked as included, which means they will be included in the slideshow behind the clock, which we'll look at very soon. As you can see in the center of these three screenshots, if you swipe the band above the list of thumbnails, there is an option to exclude all images in that set from the slideshow. If you swipe there again, they will be re-included in the slideshow. You can also swipe the top band to the right to delete all images in the folder. Swiping on each individual image includes or excludes that image. There is a second image swipe option that enables you to change the master photo for any of the albums. Unfortunately, at this point, you have to close and reopen the image manager for that change to take effect. To get to the image manager, you just have to tap the center icon in the bottom toolbar. Note that the bottom icons dim and become almost completely transparent after 7 seconds, so that they don't obscure the background images in the slideshow. They are still easily visible while in the image manager or settings screens, but can be difficult to see while images are displaying depending on the contents of the image, so you may need to tap down there to undim them when you need to change an option. Okay, so I created a short video capture of PhotoClock Pro on the iPad, running through the 12 images in the Flowerscapes image pack with the default clock showing, and I've embedded that here for you to check out. Of course, you can change the duration of the slides from 3 seconds to 5 hours via the pull down in the settings, and you can also pause the background image by tapping on the play button right of the center button at the bottom of the screen. The default clock is one of 12 preset themes. There were originally going to be 10 themes, but then the Ukraine situation arose, so I added a theme called UK Pride, using the yellow and blue national colours, and 11 of them felt clunky, so I added one more to make it 12. Then I realised that it would be nice to be able to create additional groups of themes, so I added that feature. But an empty second theme also felt clunky, so I added 7 more. Then I realized that I could enable the creation and deletion of themes to your heart's content. And because you might at some point decide that you just want all of the default themes back, I added an option to reset all of the themes to their default 12 and 7 in 2 groups. Because there are so many options, there are a lot of pull-down menus that save space, and I added 2 sections that collapse down until you hit the gear icons to the right of the clock theme groups section and the background and frame options. Here are 4 more screenshots with the 2 on either side showing all of the options in the settings screen. The second showing the theme management options, and the third showing what I internally called the theme maniac options. And they are where you can change the colour of the clock hands and digits, etc. At the top of the settings screen, you'll find the most commonly used settings for the clock itself. As you can see, you can change pretty much everything about the clock, including the color and opacity of the background, the color and thickness of the frame, and whether to use Arabic numbers or Roman numerals. If the writing is a bit small in the screenshots, click on them to show them in the light box for a better view. At the bottom of the third screen, you'll see that there is an option to force the screen of your device to always stay on if you want it to. With that option active, you can of course still lock your screen manually, and it will stay off. But unless you do manually lock your screen, it will stay illuminated so that you can always see the clock. This is useful if you want to keep it displayed on your desk or even at night beside your bed. You may not want to keep the screen on full time using your main iPhone, but if, like me, you have a number of devices just hanging around, this is a great way to give them a second life, rather than pushing them down to the bottom of a drawer. Just below that is a button to open the icon browser, where you can choose from 19 icons using the 12 default themes and another 7 copies of some of the themes with photos in the background. I like to roll the iPhone over to landscape orientation when looking at the icon browser because the 3D effect that I applied to the icons is more obvious in landscape mode. Just tap on the icon that you like and press OK to apply it. And then when you close PhotoClock Pro, you'll find that it's using your newly selected icon. The themes are of course just ideas to show you some of the possible combinations of settings. There are literally thousands of combinations that you could create, and although you could get lost with that many, you can save anything that you create as well. Note that changes are saved as you make them, so you will have to save a copy of something that you like before starting to modify it. I mentioned a new feature earlier that I added a few days ago and is now in for review, and that is that you can now double tap the clock to switch to the next theme. You can also long press the clock to move through the theme groups. I did this mainly to make it easier to show you all of the themes without going into the settings screen every time to select a new one. It enabled me to create this second video that is a capture showing you the themes and group names in a small notification at the top of the iPhone screen. The rightmost icon in the bottom toolbar changes the size of the clock. To move the clock, you simply press and drag it. We remember where you place the clock for all of the orientations of the device, so you can have the clock in a different location for landscape and portrait modes, and we separately save the location for landscape and portrait orientation flat modes for when you lay the device down. The clock generally starts in the middle, although occasionally if you install and first launch PhotoClock Pro with the device at a certain angle, we can't get the coordinates and it appears in the top left corner. Once you moved it though, we'll remember where it's placed. The light bulb icon on the left of the toolbar is to change the screen brightness. If you leave the brightness slider at the bottom, it will simply use the brightness set on your device. If you move the slider though, you can change the brightness and remember where you place it. So you can set it, for example, to a very dark screen for use in bed. When you close PhotoClock Pro though, we set the brightness back to your original device brightness, so it doesn't interfere with your usual settings. Okay, so I think that just about covers all of the main features of note in my latest software release, PhotoClock Pro. I am really excited to be able to put this out into the world and really hope that you find it useful. I can imagine a professional photographer sitting at their desk with a client and an iPad sitting there running through some of the photographer's best work. Or family with photos of old family holidays rolling through while they have dinner. I think PhotoClock Pro has the potential to become a major part of people's lives, regardless of what you do for a living. It's probably as useful on a personal basis as on a professional basis, so I'm really hoping that people like it. There are a few areas that I'd like to build out more, and will work on them in due course. Before that, I'm going to start working on an Android version and hope to have something for you within the next few months. If you'd like to pick up a copy for iOS though, you can do that today using the button at the bottom of the post or the short link mbp.ac/ASPCP for App Store PhotoClock Pro. Note too that as this is a promotional post, I'm not going to be locking this just for Patreon contributors. So if you go over to mbp.ac/773, you'll be able to see the full post with the links and the videos that I talked about, as well as all of the screen captures. I do hope you find PhotoClock Pro useful. And if you come up with a beautiful, elegant, or completely wacky clock with all of the customization options available to you, please do a screenshot or a video capture and share it. Share it online and send me a link. That'll help me to get more people's eyes on the clock as well. So I really look forward to seeing what you can create and to the sort of images that you use in the background as well. Thanks very much for listening today. If you enjoy this podcast, please share a link with your friends or supporters on Patreon. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter and LinkedIn, and links to everything that I'm up to are at martinbaileyphotography.com. So do drop by and take a look. I'll be back next week with another episode, but in the meantime, you take care and have a great week, whatever you're doing. Bye-bye.